Family games which offer fun and entertainment in equal measure for the entire family are extremely hard to come by. It has to be competitive enough for dad and the eldest, relaxed enough for mum, pretty and engaging enough for the youngsters, and simple enough so that Nanny and Grandad can get to grips with it too. Well, here we have Mini Golf Club from the Hungarian dev team of Boomoo Games, and it seems to tick all the boxes. Or at least, I hope it will. Certainly Mini Golf Club already has pedigree, with excellent reviews for its pre-existing free-to-play with in-game purchasing on both mobile and the Microsoft Store. This is a very fun and addictive game. Go on. Yes! Mini Golf Club is in early access right now, and it will cost you just over £10 on Steam. It has some bugs, some issues, and some missing features, but what it does get right is delivering a fun and entertaining experience for the whole family. If you are familiar, and I'm sure you are, with Crazy Golf, then you will immediately be aware of the gameplay on offer in Mini Golf Club. The base game comes with just over 100 holes, that's over 50 9-hole courses in old money, and although they are all very similar, they actually do a great job of being completely unique. Now, rules are for the golf course. Here you are presented with a ball, a hole, and a plethora of obstacles for which you have to overcome in order to get there, and any way that you can find to get there is absolutely fair game. There are wibbly wobbly fairways, holes, sandpits, spinning fairways, hills, drops, gaps, and gateways, and that's not to mention the teleporters. Seemingly this game has it all, but should the game not offer something you want, then fear not, because you can create your own holes using the in-game editor. It's a little bit clunky right now, but just about functional. The graphics are modest yet sharp and vibrant. I like the simplistic look of this game. It does enough to give that feel-good factor without screaming premium price tag. The game comes with simplified but semi-believable physics. The weight of the ball just seems right. I don't like though how it bounces when it hits the sand bunker. That is definitely something I hope they change. But on the whole, the physics are consistent and reliable, which makes for a good and fair challenge. The audio in Mini Golf is adequate. There's nothing special to mention in a positive or negative light here. Immersion in this game isn't really a thing, so instead I will replace it with fun, and this game is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for a single player, and it's even more fun when you play multiplayer. So Mini Golf Club has the full combo of controller options. You can use keyboard and mouse, a controller, just the keyboard, or even just a mouse. And I've got to say that the mouse control is very smooth and absolutely perfect. The controller, on the other hand, is a little bit twitchy. It doesn't have that smoothness, and if I had to pick one over the other, 100% I would say the keyboard and mouse is the way to go. I hope they do something with the controller to just smooth out those movements a bit, but it is usable. You can play with it. It's just not as nice as the mouse. So if you do well on a hole, then of course you get rewarded with points, or coins I think they're called. Then you simply swap them for something way cooler. A snazzy hat perhaps, a jot of face paint, or even some colourful fizzy trailing dust. Perfect. And whilst those quirky changes are good, I think the game would also benefit from having something a little more basic. A simple option to change the colour of your player name, for example. Then the aiming triangle should reflect that colour, and even the ball should be the same colour as they've picked as well. So I mentioned family play, and this game does do a great job of making it family friendly with its 4 play modes. Obviously we have single player tournament, which is a great and quick way to unlock courses and earn some special dollar. Then you've got multiplayer hot seat. This is where you have one controller and you pass it around for each person's turn. That has a tendency to take a little too long, and it can bore the younger ones. So thankfully, we also have split screen for up to 4 players, which is excellent, except that it doesn't quite work right now. I'll explain that in a second. Finally, we have online play. Now, I couldn't find anyone online to play with, but if you have family playing remotely, then this will allow you to connect with them to play the game. Sadly, at the moment at least, there is no Steam sharing option, so Nanny is just going to have to fork out and buy a copy for now. So, having already explained that this is in early access, I have to point out that I was unable to get the split screen gameplay option working. All of the controllers and player balls were just mixed up together. So whilst I was able to hit my own ball, I was also able to move the player 2 camera, but player 2 could also move their camera, but they couldn't hit their ball. Basically, it was completely unplayable. I'm sure they'll get it working eventually, but right now in my tests, it didn't work at all. So instead we opted for hot swapping mode, and whilst that worked and we all had a lot of fun, the fact that all player names and balls were visible in the same location at the same time added a few minor issues and annoyances. Furthermore, the player furthest from the pin should be the next player to play, rather than it going player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, and then back to the beginning again. That approach can get frustrating. Also, the winner of the previous hole really should be first to go on the next hole. Now, I don't mind these being options, maybe you want to turn it on or off, but not having it definitely made the game a little bit less fun than I think it could have been. So basically, none of it really works very well at the moment, but clearly the intention is there, and when it's working, it will be a great feature set of gameplay options for this particular game. So I struggle with early access games. In my head, I surely think a 50% discount would be a suitable enticement for people to invest in your game before it's finished. But nobody seems to agree with me because nobody does that. Now, I was sent this game for free to review, and that's what I'm going to do. So whilst I am absolutely sure that mini golf has huge potential, and in the future I would expect it to be very accomplished, this is early access. So you're going to have to decide for yourself if you think whether this game will evolve into what you want it to be. It's a simple game, and that's actually a positive, as it helps to make it a really great family game, nothing too complex or difficult included. Personally, I thoroughly enjoyed playing it in single player mode, just as much as I did playing with my family in 4-player mode, even though we had a few issues. There's a lot to like about this game, it just works really well. It's simple, it's fun, and it's enjoyable. Now, whilst I praise the game for its simplicity, I do feel like there's a couple of features missing, and I have some recommendations for future design ideas for the game. So one of the gameplay modes missing is team player, 2 versus 2, where the 2 player scores are added together. You can also do team in a hot seat position where you share one ball. Both of these options are I forget the technical name for them in golf, but they are features in golf, and I think they should be in this game. The option, as I mentioned earlier, that the furthest player from the pin plays next, I think that needs to be included because it's quite annoying having to wait 4 turns for your next go when you have accidentally hit the ball 3 inches. I also think they need to include a Steam Workshop option and allow people to add new obstacles for the game. This could add a huge amount to the game, and without it, we are kind of reliant on the developers to produce enough to keep things interesting and varied. Now, I haven't seen a roadmap, so I don't know what their plans are for that in the future, but I think Steam Workshop would be a great solution. At the end of a round of 9 holes, it just seems to carry on to the next course. Really, it needs to stop. It needs to show the scores and perhaps give some kind of congratulations to the winner. Or if it's a draw, there needs to be a playoff. At the moment, it just kind of rolls into the next one, and if you're not paying enough attention, then you won't even notice that you finished the previous game and nobody will know who's won. Now in this game, I noticed there's a lot of ball lofting and bouncing going on. So I think it would be nice to have the option, like an advanced option, for spin and curve, or slice. Now it's nice to have basic play, as I've already mentioned, it's great for the family, but it could also be really cool to have backspin, and you could backspin the ball into a cup. It could really add a new dynamic to the game. Now I know that this isn't pitch and putt, this is just putting. So maybe pitch and putt should be an option for the future. Just an idea. So basically, it's in early access, it's quite buggy at the moment, the potential is high, it's clean, it's crisp, and it's enjoyable for everyone, from the youngest to the oldest players. We played as a family and we enjoyed it immensely. Everybody had a chance at playing each hole, and everybody won a hole eventually. The question you have to ask, I guess, is it going to be better than its competitors? There's a few out there doing similar things, perhaps a little bit more eccentric, I would say, is the best way of explaining it. This is far more simplified. I really would like them to retain that level of simplicity because it is so beneficial to family play. Is it good value for money? It's difficult to say because it's in early access and I've been proven wrong and right so many times. It basically comes down to what you see in the game, what you would like to get out of the game, and whether or not you think the developers are going to be able to deliver that in a timely fashion. So, here we go. This is the review. I hope it's been helpful to you. It is a really great game to play. It's very enjoyable. Don't forget, Steam has a 2-hour try before you buy. Well, not try before you buy. Buy, try, and return system. So if you want to give a game like this a try before you invest in it, then you do have 2 hours to get some feel for the gameplay. And I've got to say, as you progress through the holes, the game gets considerably more difficult, but I'm not sure there's enough content for each of the holes right now to keep things interesting beyond 100 holes. I think they need far more obstacles in the game, and like I say, if they could open it up to Steam Workshop, then you would potentially have unlimited number of obstacles, and that would keep it fresh and enjoyable for the long term. Anyway guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves until next time. Goodbye.